Hi everybody, welcome to the December Supper Club. Hope you're having a good time. We are working our way through the 7 deadly sins, and we started with greed.
Yes, and last month we did gluttony because of Thanksgiving.
That's right. Why did we do greed? Oh, it was stewardship. That's why we did greed.
That's right.
Yep. We'll try to name the rest and then we'll tell you the final. So
pride,
lust,
sloth,
pride,
anger.
Anger. There's the 4, right?
Yeah.
And then the last one this month we're going to do envy.
Yep.
Being December with all of the gift giving and all of the being out in the malls and easy to compare yourself with others and what you don't have. So envy seemed like the one for December, right? We also, besides though having that cultural setting, we wanted to ground this in the Bible, and we thought of the parable of the vineyard and the landowner in the vineyard, and you'll remember this one. It's from Matthew 20, and a landowner goes out, hires daily laborers in the morning, and they go to work. Then he goes gets some others later in the day, and then all the way to 5 o'clock. People have been waiting all day. There's only a few hours left. Gets them. They go to the field. Now it's pay time, and he starts with the last, with the ones who've only worked an hour, pays them for all day, and then the ones who had been working all day were thinking, oh great, we're going to get like double something, and they got the same. And they grumbled against the landowner because they thought they should receive more.
And it wasn't fair that the others got as much.
That's right. And the landowner says, is it not up to me? And I'm being generous. And
right.
So,
right. What business is of yours that I
what
get to be generous? It's my money.
Right. So it seemed like a great grounding place to think about envy and jealousy. Right? We're going to kind of differentiate those for us.
Well, reading about the 7 deadly sins throughout history, those two sins are used interchangeably, or they seem to be, or seem to have been. So envy and jealousy. So just to use these definitions for our benefit tonight, we're going to say that envy comes from a place of longing or desire when we wish we had what someone else has. So longing for what someone else has, we feel envious.
Okay. And
jealousy comes from a place of fear that what we have is going to be taken from us. And so it's a threat. It's the threat of losing someone or something that we hold very precious.
Yeah. Okay. We found some quotes that they're just some of them you'll know. That the green-eyed, was it Shakespeare that said the green-eyed monster
that threatens to consume you.
That's close
something
enough.
Like that.
Close enough.
To eat you up.
That's right. That's right. And Soren Kierkegaard called it the sin of comparison. So that's that sitting in the mall and wishing I could have this, or someone else is hearing about someone's new iPhone and comparing yourself, which I just got. So anyway.
Not jealous.
Yeah, not jealous of that. And then Buechner's quote. What did Buechner say? I loved his thing. He
said, envy is the consuming desire to have everybody else be as unsuccessful as you are.
Love that.
That's very funny.
It is good. So we wanted to ask first, what's so dangerous, to think a little bit about what is so dangerous about these two emotions. And we think that part of it is that they're so raw and so deeply felt. They come from a place that we feel like maybe we're not going to be able to control them, right? And so the kind of thing that green-eyed monster, it's almost this
really
monster within you that could eat you up and ruin everything. And then when we feel it, we often feel ashamed that we felt it, and we deny it. It's hard for us to be honest about
feeling jealous.
Feelings
or
of
envious.
jealous,
yeah. It comes out of nowhere. I find that it just emerges, and it takes me by surprise sometimes.
Sometimes later.
That's
what I'm feeling.
Wow, okay, that's what's going on.
Yeah. So some of the behaviors that can result from this is it's almost as if you start to project onto someone that you're jealous or envious of powers that they really don't have, but almost these that they're godlike or demon-like. We start to give them these powers, and then we'll degrade. We'll do little things, gossip about them,
to demean
them, sully their reputation. Think we need to bring them down from that pedestal.
Right. yeah, those are good clues that we're usually jealous of someone or right, envious of someone, that we start making fun or dismissing them, or even gentle eye rolls when they say things.
That's a good point, right? Because that's true. I'm not often aware, probably, of times when I am jealous. But I'm doing those kind of little behaviors and maybe someone else, especially if someone else maybe just shares the jealousy with you, and you're doing these like, oh well, so and so. Right. It's pretty insidious.
It's insidious, right?
It really is. Our culture. We thought about how our culture.
Right. Well, I was thinking about that, but connected to the behaviors. What the behaviors do is break down community, right? And the sin we talked about, the 7 deadly sins. The consequences of the sin is a separation, separation of self from ourselves, separation from each other, separation from God. So that lack of connection, because we start pushing someone else away.
Can damage the community, can damage the relationship, and
what
us. It's doing to yourself.
And I think this is one of the hardest ones. I think it is very damaging to our own feelings about ourselves. We feel the shame. I think this is one of the hardest sins, I think, because it's very poisonous. That's right. Yeah. So culture, we live in a culture, we all know, that encourages and fosters competition. Everything is in relation to one another. Who does what better, who is better looking, who is more successful, who has more money. Everything is in comparison, and it's very difficult to find ourselves grounded, not in relation to other people.
That's so true, and then there's these root causes of what these
where's it come from?
Where does it come from? And it's feels like it's deeply tied to our own insecurities about who we are.
Right.
When the more the more comfortable I feel about myself, the more secure I feel about myself, the less likely I'm going to be triggered by these kinds of things. And so, doing that work to stay grounded in who we are and in our relationship with God. So, like the laborers, so that if someone else is maybe getting something that doesn't look like a fair deal to me, my relationship is with that landowner, and did I get treated fairly by the landowner? It doesn't matter what the landowner's doing to the others.
And in simple ways, it's like it's none of your business. So just keep your eyes on yourself, stay in your lane, stop, put the blinders on and stop comparing ourselves to other people, because that's when it gets really dangerous.
So practically, we thought of some ways of what do you do when you're experiencing this. One, admit it to yourself, which is easier said than done, but to just say, okay, this is what this is. Deal with the shame of that, because we're taught not to feel this, not to.
You don't want to admit it.
But we do. We all do. And so to say, okay, guilty. There
is something that just disempowers it when you say, I feel so jealous of.
Especially if you'll tell someone else that. So
not the person who feels the same jealousy.
Oh yeah, not the one who feels the same.
They're like,
oh, me too. So talking to someone else about it diffuses it as well. To say, going through this for sure. Just to kind of step back from, because so much of it is about projecting things onto people. To step back from it and say, what's really true here? Just look at the facts, and someone else can help you with that. That's why telling someone else can be so helpful. They can put up a mirror and say, really, is this, a quality that this person really has, or that you don't have,
you've lost track of in yourself.
And then just transforming your belief that there's not enough, there's not enough goodness, and we'll get back to that at the end with the landowner. But it's that idea that, look, the landowner's got enough. Actually gives out enough for everybody.
But we start thinking that there's a scarcity of affirmation or of goods, or that there's a scarcity. We live in this small place, and rather than in a generous place.
Which is really the antidote. It's this stepping into the bountiful nature of the world and God, and that we have a generous God, that we have a generous world, that your friends can be generous. It's a worldview shift.
It shifts, the paradigm of generosity, and that you can let other people succeed. You can rejoice when other people do well, and it doesn't mean that you aren't as good.
Right.
It doesn't have to reflect on yourself.
But it does get back to, I think, to that relationship with God. And what? How do you? Who are you? Whose definition are you going to accept? Because if it's going to be this comparison all the time, you're in trouble. It's
a hard way to live.
Yes.
And the spiritual journey is to move into a place of generosity and goodness and belief that there is enough to go around, and to be rooted in our own self-worth and our belovedness as children of God.
Easy to say, hard to do.
Okay, questions for tonight.
All right. Maybe just talk about a situation, I think we can all think of times where we've been jealous. So sharing a story around the table of a time when you have been jealous is a good place to start.
And I guess elaborate on ways that you think culture fosters, or how you see culture fostering competition and jealousy or envy in us.
Yep. And then we also thought about just for yourself, how have you dealt when you are jealous? What have you found helpful? We named a few things, but what works for you? What gets you out of that scarcity, fear-based, anxiety?
Anxiety is a good word. It causes a lot of anxiety.
Yeah, it does.
Yes. But we're called not to live like that.
That's right.
All right.
All right. Have a great time.
Have a good evening.
Thanks.